Hey guys, I'm in Northeast Iowa today on a farm of mine, and we did a project in here that I was very uncomfortable doing about a year ago. So I wanted to get in here, show you guys what it looks like a year after. We're gonna do it again in a year. I wanna show you, tell you what we did, tell you the mistakes that we made, so you can not make them on your property, and then tell you the pros that we experience and what we do like and what we did do right. So we took 7 acres here outside of a food plot. It was loaded with basswood. It had shagbark hickory in it, a lot of maple, oak, walnut, you name it. Really diverse timber, but primarily basswood, a lot of big size to it, so there was some actual volume there. We took out probably 300 basswood that were big, 25 to 30 inch trees. So that created a little bit of revenue. Used that revenue to tube and bring in pin oaks, and different oaks that are going to hold their leaves all year until the spring, so it gives it some thermal benefit. So we tubed in oaks, different varieties of those, walnuts and chestnuts in some of these tubes that you see behind me. And we left all the tops and the stumps, except for like the ironwood and a few other undesirable trees we did not want to sprout. We sprayed those stumps with stump killer, and the rest we left. So what's happening a year later is you can see some of the stumps are already up, probably 8 feet high. We're gonna come back and zip those off again so they're back down to the deer's level. But that's already responded just like that in 1 year's time. When you look at the timber, as you fly the drone by, you can see this is maybe 3 weeks into spring green up right now where I'm at. There was snow on the ground 3 weeks ago here, and it's already probably 2.5 feet high vegetation in here, and there's weeds last year. You could see the dead ones, foxtail and a few other flowers and shrubs and briars and stuff that have come in here. They're already like 4 to 6.5, 7 feet tall all the way through this 7 acres. So some of the good things that we liked about it, it's responding really well. We opened up the canopy really well. The oak trees are dropping acorns into the piles. The walnuts are dropping walnuts into the piles of the tops and allowing it to be fenced, if you will, and gonna get some regeneration because of that. We also tubed in, like I said, a bunch of trees and put those tubes in there, so those are responding and starting to get growth within the tube. So those ones, if the undergrowth grows too fast so it's not going to regenerate with oaks and walnuts, we'll have those as a backup plan. And then in the meantime, we're going to have a ton of browse off all those other stumps that have sprouted. The trees that we left in here are responding and going to be crop released and going to grow and put on a lot more production than they have in the past. Instead of having just their tiny little canopy, they've already started to bush out more up top and get a bigger canopy on them. So we're going to leave the walnuts in here for about another 10 years, and then we'll take the walnuts when they're at their premium size. They're about 20 inches right now. We're going to let those get about 10% a year for the next 10 years, and then we'll take all the walnuts in here that are that big and at their peak marketable timber size. Some of the things that we learned that we would do different. One, we would have taken all the maples and hickory out. Those ones are they're in here, and we're going to come down and cut them down, and we're going to have to be careful not to land them on a tree that was planted. But we left about, I don't know, in 7 acres, probably 30 hard maple, and we're going to come in and cut those down. I don't know that they're doing anybody any favors in here. Leaving the tops was a good thing. Leaving all the other logs was a good thing. We literally came through and created trails with a chainsaw about 3 feet wide where the downed trees were, and it has funneled the deer exactly where we want them to go. And we did that from where the box blind and tree stand are in the food plot behind the camera. So you can even, not only are the trails right where you want the deer to come in, but it's where you can see them coming. So you know a couple 100 yards in advance of when they're coming through the thick stuff, you can see them coming right on the trail, specifically right where we cut it. So that was good. So the 3 things, again, to recap, what I would do different on this project: I would have taken out all the trees that were undesirable, the mapes, the hickories, the other ones that weren't for deer in this specific situation. Now we're having to come back and redo that and just cut them down. 2, I would have seeded in acorns and walnuts and chestnuts and seeds. So all these trees laying around them, I should have just broadcast them across the whole entire 7 acres. So number 3, And number 3 would be put in more tube trees, more fence trees, which we can come in and do that again this second year. So you can see what this has done for the wildlife. I mean, you can hear it right here. It never sounded like this before. It was silent down here. There's birds, there's turkeys gobbling, there's pheasants cackling. There's a bunch of deer in here that we ran out. I mean, just really has changed the atmosphere of this bottom. It works so well. This was 7 acres. We're doing 70 acres up and over the hill now. So I would highly recommend it. Make sure it's really planned out with a drone and really planned out from the topic of what you want the future of it to look like and if it's going to negatively affect your property value in the meantime. But as far as year 1 review on the clear cut or primarily taking all the invasives out or all those other trees, this has been a success.